I gotta be honest, I thought this was a horror film. Just look at that title. The Tax Collector? Taxes? What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about David Ayer's brand new film that drops tomorrow. Now, if you've seen my Letterboxd review, I may have spoiled my thoughts, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I need you in the comments down below. Were you looking forward to this film? Are you a fan of, like, Suicide Squad? Let's talk about this one. So, a tax collector working for a local crime lord finds his family's safety compromised when the rival of his boss shows up in LA and upends his business, starring Bobby Soto, Shia LaBeouf, and directed by David Ayer. So I was really joking about Suicide Squad before. Movies like End of Watch, Fury, which was one of my favorite war films of the decade. I loved that movie. Granted, I haven't loved all of his films. We've talked about a couple. I don't want to throw him under the bus as a director, but I was excited for this because this was his opportunity to go back to what he did so well in a movie like End of Watch, except this time covering kind of the opposite side of things. We're dealing with these individuals who are an opposing force to those that they go and collect their taxes from, and that was exciting, enticing, and super entertaining within the first act. One thing I was really looking forward to, though, was Shia LaBeouf, who is kind of marketed, and I don't think that's the case the more you look into it, but on the posters and the trailer, it's like, oh, he's going to be the guy, right? Well, really, he's not in the movie all that much. I mean, he's in it enough to warrant it being Shia LaBeouf, but when we're talking about fleshing out certain characters, which is something I think we're all going to want in a film like this, listen, if you watch this movie and just kind of turn your brain off and soak it in as much as you can, I mean, even though there is very little character depth, it's at least entertaining if you're watching it mindlessly. And I know that sounds like the worst thing to say about a film, but really, there's enough gore, enough violence, and enough Shia LaBeouf standing there with his arms folded to appease a lot of people. But here's my issue with the movie. We already kind of hit on it, the fact that I wanted to know so much more about these characters, and it's almost brash and dark for the sake of being brash and dark, and it doesn't necessarily flow with what the story is trying to tell us. And they attempt to give Bobby Soto's character multiple layers. They give him a backstory, they give him a family, but we're more concerned as we're progressing through the movie about the relationship between he and a very specific boss above him. And that relationship, something that they hit on so many times throughout the movie, I didn't really understand it. They didn't flesh it out all that well. He keeps saying, I have to get over, I have to accept and embrace my fears, but it's that relationship and the relationship between he and Shia LaBeouf that has little to no buildup. We don't know why they feel the way they feel about each other, and the conversations that we do get are just so random, and sometimes I like dialogue in that vein, and occasionally it works if there is a connection there, but there is no connection, and they keep saying LaBeouf's character of Creeper is this awesome, just be a character. They'll walk out of a place after somebody, well, you kind of know what happened to them, and they're all cool, but they never showed us. They never showcased it. And then once we finally get into some extremely violent and gore-filled moments in the third, or maybe later second act, it's a lot of slow motion, which is fine. It's a very stylistic movie, by the way, in terms of editing and the visuals. But it's also just kind of too late at that point. It's like I've already lost interest. And again, no character buildup. We don't know why they're doing what they're doing. And if you don't care about something like that, then that's fine. But for me, I look at the writing and I look how some of these characters are fleshed out, but we never got it. And then inevitably, when we get those high-stake filled moments at the end in that third act when we have to care, one, it was so predictable. I saw every major moment coming, almost, I'll give it that. And two, you just don't care all that much. It's almost this empty experience with some cool-looking shots, some interesting editing techniques. The style is there, and I like the concept in theory, but these moments, and I even like the casting of someone like George Lopez. Fine, throw him in there, give him a different kind of role. Someone texted me, oh, one of my favorite barbecue restaurants closed. Oh, Regardless, I didn't mind George Lopez in that role, and I didn't mind the techniques used, and the fact that David Ayer knows the kind of movie he wants to make, and a lot of people are going to find it too intense and too dark, and I even respect and appreciate that, but because there was so little depth elsewhere, I do have to kind of agree with that criticism. It's too dark for its own good. It's just for the sake of doing it, and it did not come off as all that much entertaining for me. And this movie, while I don't think I dislike it as a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of people say it's the worst movie of the year. I saw some moments and some things in there, but I do have to agree that it just didn't work overall. So yeah, The Tax Collector, it has enough style to maintain some interest, but it's hard to invest in a film that lacks character depth like this. So thank you guys again for watching. Leave those comments down below. This is a spoiler-free review because the movie drops tomorrow. I appreciate the screener for this film. All of that being said, my score is a 48% for The Tax Collector. Again, it's not the worst score in the world, but it's not enough, man. And nowadays, especially with movies coming on VOD and so many films out there, you have to do more to capture the audience's interest. Regardless, I need to know how you all feel. Appreciate the thumbs up and all the support, and stay tuned because plenty more reviews to come this weekend. Please don't come collect my taxes. I'm not ready for that.